first started this, it was a bit of an experiment, really. Wanted to see if I could get really anything going, and so far I've had people reaching out to me for it. I've had, players, coaches being like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." And so far I've stayed within my comfort zone, which is basketball. Obviously, having played, doing the play-by-play things like that. But for the first time here, I have somebody with me who coaches a sport and has a background in a sport that I really don't know too much about. So a lot of this is going to be me asking you questions, not having a conversation about the sport, but really asking to find out for myself. And who I have here is a Skidmore women's volleyball coach, Lindsay King. King is the last name now, right? 'Cause I know it was hyphenated. So
yes,
okay.
Yes.
So Lindsay, you were here. You took over the program in 2022. You are local. Burn Hills, Boston Lake is where you played at. So you're from this area, which I know Coach Bostic and Coach Burke both are originally from Jersey and played down there and came to Skidmore and had to learn about Saratoga. You kind of knew about Saratoga your whole life because obviously you're right down the road. But when you came here in 2022, what was the program like? I mean, did you have to really build it up, or did they already have a established volleyball program? Because
Yeah.
I know, like when Coach Burke came, they had never made an NCAA tournament in 25 years, and they hadn't even won the Liberty League. And then he came and obviously turned the program into what it is. How was volleyball when you got here to Skid?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, no
I'm excited to be
worries.
here. I grew up in the area, and I kind of have a unique journey because I grew up 20 minutes from here, and I actually went to the Skidmore summer camps as a young athlete,
Oh,
and
nice.
then I coached the summer camps when I was in college, and here we are, full circle moment. But
Oh, yes.
I took over for Jerry and Hilda, who are two legendary coaches and have built such an incredible program at Skidmore, and I've really known them my whole life, right? Kind of growing up alongside of the program. So really grateful to have that background. I took over, and there was already a really established program, but when you take over a program, you want to kind of make things your own, right? And I'm really fortunate to have brought in a recruiting class of 7 my first year and really kind of tried to turn that culture into something that was my own. And
Yeah.
Jerry and Hilda have been here for 27 years at the time, and a lot of consistency over that time, and they've just done such a great job at just making volleyball known across campus. And I'm really fortunate that I got to take over for a program that had that type of legacy already. This past fall was great for us. We ended up making it to the semifinal for the first time in 13 years, and got to host for the first time in 13 years, and
Yeah, I saw
just
that.
ended up being a really, really awesome season for us. So grateful to have grown up alongside the program and come in and take over for such a great staff, and then also have the opportunity to make it my own ultimately.
Well, you won 2 state championships at BHBL. You also then went on to play. I was doing a little bit of digging. So you played at St. Rose and at Nazareth. Okay.
Yeah, I went to St. Rose my freshman year and then transferred out to Nazareth. Yeah.
Okay. Nazareth's now Old Empire 8 foe of mine from Hartwick. So I
Yes.
remember Nazareth.
Great school.
Golden Eagles or Flashes?
Golden Flyers.
Flyers. I knew it
Yes.
started with an F.
Yep.
Okay. Golden Flyers. That's out Rochester area, right?
Yes, correct.
How was the program out there?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
I played for Cal Wickens, who
Okay.
I have known for such a long time, and I was going to school for communication sciences and disorders at the time, so pretty unique program, and St. Rose had an awesome program for that, and then just ended up needing to kind of get out of the area and experience somewhere new, and had the opportunity to transfer out to Nazareth, and such a great education there, met some of my best friends, and had a great experience academically and athletically in my time there. So
Is that where you changed it to the inclusive early childhood and childhood education major out there? Okay.
So I ended up switching majors to early childhood education and psychology, and loved it. And that's actually what I did a year out of college. I was a special ed teacher for Argyle Central Schools.
Yep.
And got the phone call from Castleton that next summer.
That's in Vermont.
It is. Yeah. So my family has run summer camps up in Castleton for It's going to be the
Okay.
29th year this coming
Wow.
summer.
So, okay,
Yeah.
so a lot of familiarity with that area. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Spike Mountain Volleyball Camp. We usually have close to 400 campers there every summer. And my dad started it 29 years ago and started with a small group of campers, and it's really grown into something special. And so that's kind of how I had my connection to Castleton. And they were looking for a coach. And at the time, I was 22 and had never had college coaching experience. I had a lot of experience around the sport, but they really took a chance on me to come in and really turn their program around. I had half of my team had never played the sport before.
Oh, wow. So it's
at
a
a
lot
college
of,
level,
yeah.
it's tough. Yeah.
So it's probably a struggle at first in terms of at least win-loss record and all that stuff. Or just getting
Yes.
people. Do you think that your experience with the the special ed teaching and the major, which was the education and psychology, do you think that kind of helped you with your ability to coach and be able to take on something like that for something that I would imagine would be pretty stressful, pretty mentally draining for kids who have never played, especially at a competitive level.
Yeah.
Was your background able to kind of help them through it a little bit too?
Yeah, I grew up around the sport. I think I've being from a family of coaches and a family of educators. Both my parents are teachers.
Oh, okay.
And education has always been something I'm really proud of and just
Sure.
have always placed a big emphasis on in my coaching style. But as someone who was brand new to the profession and really learning how college coaching went day by day and really being thrown into it, I think I just, love the basics of the game and love developing a whole player in that respect. And I was able to do that at Castleton with really taking over a program that needed to be turned around pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, usually if they're asking a coach, and this is nothing against you, I'm just saying, if they're reaching out to a coach who had never coached before, who was fresh out of college to coach I don't want to say a major Division III program, but it's a program that people have heard of on the Division III level. They might be in a position where they need to turn something and take a chance on something or somebody. But at the time, though, and we talked a little bit off air, you had mentioned that volleyball is the fastest growing sport in the United States. Was it then? Because you'd think that maybe they did, like, was there any other options? Again, I'm glad that they gave you the opportunity, but was there any other options they could have went with, or was it not quite as prominent then as it is now?
From a coaching standpoint?
Yeah.
I think they wanted to find someone who was young and passionate about the sport and that they were familiar with, and they knew me from being around the campus for a long time, and they have been able to see me coach. And Deanna Tyson was the athletic director there at the time, and her and I had a good relationship, and it was really just a situation where they needed someone to come in and who knew the sport, because Vermont doesn't have a lot of volleyball. It's growing quickly. But I think at the time, for a state school like Castleton, there was 15 high school teams in the whole state of Vermont. Wow. And that has since grown. I was actually chatting with the Middlebury college coach this past weekend at a tournament, and she was saying how quickly it's growing in that state and it's developing fast. But yeah, the athletic director there really just needed someone to come in and turn things around. And I was able to get my master's there in athletic leadership. And it was such an incredible experience for me. I mean, I really fell in love with the profession of college coaching at my time at Castleton. And to be honest, didn't really see myself. I went to school to be an elementary school teacher, right? I really had quite the career shift. And that was all because of my time at Castleton and that athletic director really taking, really thinking that I was gonna come in and turn things around. So I really loved it. It was an awesome time for me.
So the thing about with volleyball, you mentioned it was 15 programs in the state. There's 15 programs within 20 minutes of here.
Correct.
So it's a little bit different. The volleyball scene, having played in the volleyball scene, I know obviously how the basketball scene looks from an AAU standpoint, from a high school standpoint. I just covered Skidmore season, unfortunately ended earlier than any of us would have liked. So I did some of the high school games for play-by-play. And so it was cool to see, because obviously having played locally in high school and then seeing these high school teams and the new generations of kids, it was interesting in that regard. But what is the volleyball scene? Because you're still pretty involved locally in the area too. what's the volleyball scene like now? Because I know things shift, things transition. You know, sometimes years are better than others, decades are better than others. How is volleyball in the Capital District right now?
Yeah, it's exploding.
Is it
There's
okay?
so many volleyball players in our
Okay.
area, and the level of volleyball is getting better and better every year. In
Okay.
New England in general, it's
Okay.
getting better and better. And I
All right.
think a lot of it is just because of the opportunities that these young athletes are able to have, but whether it's the several clubs that are popping up across New
Mm,
England, or whether it's just the tournaments that
mm.
are, right down the road from a lot of the clubs that are growing here. I coach at Spa City Volleyball Club,
Okay.
which
Is that like an
is,
AAU?
it
When you say
is.
club, it's kind of like that. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So there's USAV and AAU and JVA. There's a lot of different,
Different. Okay.
different groups that you can play for in club. And so I actually coach the youth